Everyone needs the coffee for deer camp. Everyone has a death wish for the game they're following. Everyone needs crack in a cup. So this episode, it's not your typical hunting episode.
Hold on, time out. Don't forget to get your to-go.
And harness your superpowers.
Oh, we'll talk about that too. Death Wish Coffee, fueled by Deathcast, the world's strongest coffee.
Crack in a cup.
Liquid crack, as Norman Reedus quote-unquote says about this coffee. They made their stamp on Good Morning America. What is more American than Death Wish Coffee? There's a lot of coffees out there. A lot of coffee companies. And there's a lot of good ones that contribute to conservation.
But there isn't any that don't allow you to not shit your pants in the tree neither.
Yes.
Even for someone like Ghost Hunter.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Sorry.
And you're going to have to tune in because, we're definitely getting into depth with the incredible Jeff on what Death Wish Coffee brings to the table and why they support the hunting industry and especially East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. This is not even raw, real, no bullshit. This is some real shit.
Guy's a fucking rock star.
He is.
He's, and I never thought I'd ever say it about someone selling coffee. He's a fucking rock star.
I'm just saying he's
the man.
Yeah, host of his own show. One of the most badass people that I know.
Well, he's East Coasterner.
East Coasterner? Oh, God. He didn't even drink tonight, guys. He didn't even drink. He had water.
Water.
But yeah, East Coast all the way. We're going to meet up in podcast land. We'll be shaking hands. I'll be giving him a hug. This is the real deal. You need deer camp coffee. You need a Death Wish.
And they have a to-go one.
Death Wish Coffee. What's the password?
Elite Coast.
All right, come on. What's up? What's the password?
Elite Coast.
All right. Come in.
What's the password?
Beast Coast.
All right, come on in. What side?
East side, motherfucker.
All right, come on in. Why East Coast Bowhunting Podcast?
Because neither one of us wear pink camo.
East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Look, man, I'm from Wisconsin, and I listen to the East Coast Bowhunters because you don't get anything more real than these guys.
Because East Coast Bowhunting sets the standards for keeping its listeners informed on everything that matters in the hunting industry.
Nice having somebody, local and represent the East Coast for us.
The East Coast is going to saddle up.
Number one source for slaying whitetails on the East Coast.
Well, you might see Jesus if you actually do something, it'll get you into heaven.
Why East Coast? Why not? I'm East Coast, baby. That's how we roll. Chew on that.
Come on the show, a stranger, and you feel like one of the boys when you leave.
Because I get my hunting camp anytime I want.
There's some absolute monsters roaming the East Coast, and I think it needs a little attention, so why not bring it to the East Coast Bowhunters Podcast?
Mad because East Coast is a tight-knit crew, and y'all like me. Raw, real, no bullshit.
Because you guys are hometown boys. I love you guys.
East Coast Bowhunting Podcast.
This is Kurt Geyer with Working Class Bowhunter, and East Coast Bowhunting Podcast is the only hunting podcast I'll tune into.
This is the East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. We are back at Slayer Club in the dirty water, Waterbury, Connecticut, where it's all good in the hood, hiding in the mountains of God's heaven. I'm your boy D-Rock here with
East Coast Trev
and
Ghost Hunter.
We make up the Beast Coast team that bleeds elite. But don't worry, we have the cure for the best result. Pun intended. This show is brought to you by Elite Archery. Make the switch, bitch. Too harsh?
No.
No?
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
All right, a little lighter. Okay, sorry. Make the switch, female K9. Take advantage of our promo codes. Ethics Archery.
East Coast 10.
10, 10, 10.
East.
Death Wish Coffee, the world's strongest coffee. Fueled by Deathcast is their podcast, which we're going to get into a little bit later. Use promo code EastCoast10. East 10. Coast. 10. Gator Outdoors, outfitting the working class. What promo code is that?
ECB10.
There you go. Tree Thrasher, imitate the wild. Promo code
10.
15.
Oh.
East Coast 15.
Sorry, 15.
They love us.
15.
Yeah, they love us a little more than the other ones, I think. And we have a promo code for WCB, Working Class Bowhunter. Use promo code ECB and save you some.
ECB.
We are the East Coast Bowhunter Podcast, and we're here as always for new and old hunters by sharing our experiences in the woods through playing and slaying. What's up?
What's up, guys?
Just another beautiful Monday.
Where the fuck am I?
The Slayer Club, player. I know lights are going on the roof. You walk in, you're almost fucking going into convulsions and breaking into a seizure. But don't worry, I got my pen with me. Medicinal pen. Where'd it go? Oh, it's right here. Hold on.
When I drove by, I didn't know if it was a strip club or your house. The lights were shining so nice. It was,
Well,
just
I didn't turn on the red light.
East.
Oh, man. You know what? Let's get right into it. I want to get into... Ooh, what was that sound?
What in the fuck?
Yeah. Doesn't that sound nice? This will sound better.
You smell that?
I think
smells like bacon.
Maybe some deer bacon.
Whoa.
It's definitely some wild game product.
Something's bacon.
What's that called? Field to frying pan?
Let's call it from the field to the frying pan.
Hell yeah. So,
Fuck the table.
Ghost Hunter, enlighten us, man. I really want to kind of introduce you a bit better in the sense of, you've been friends with Trev for quite some time now, and we became friends in the past year. You were actually the beginning plan on our napkin plan that Trev and I came up with to be, back in the club. But, no, on some real tip is we really need to know who you are and your background a little bit more and what you bring to the table.
No pun?
No, the dinner table.
Yeah.
So just enlighten us a bit, man. Start from the beginning. Your background, what you kind of bled into learning, and how you apply it to your everyday life.
It was a blessing in disguise, this whole hunting part career of my life. I'd like to call it a career because I was cooking at such a young age with my family, and we were hunting at such a young age. Started around 5. And shooting squirrels, shooting game, shooting, grouse, and going up to Vermont, snowshoe hunting at a young age. You get tough, and you learn how to cook tough meat really good. And you watch a lot of grandparents cook, and I watched a lot of old-timers cook, and I just itched for it. So it took my passion of hunting into another level that not only do I want to harvest something awesome, I want to now create something that tastes a flavor profile that people don't know.
You need to wet your whistle with a shebeen?
Yeah.
There you go. Take it, man.
Yeah.
Take it. How the hell am I still getting phone calls if I have my phone on Do Not Disturb? I fucking hate that shit.
It's because you have an iPhone?
Nah, you know what it is? Not to interrupt. I'm sorry, Ghost Hunter, but it's because my phone is old. They're out to iPhone 11 now, right? So if you do the update, I'm telling you, conspiracy theory. But back to the story. Ghost Hunter.
No, just a little rundown. Just really loved the whole outdoor hunting, cooking, field to frying pan. My 3 uncles are gangster bow hunters, all 3 chefs.
Do they like Waterbury?
They don't come to Waterbury. They don't discriminate.
I don't think anybody comes to Waterbury.
I was told to stay away from Waterbury.
Actually, the funny thing is we're known for our food, ironically.
Well, you know what?
Now that we're talking about this.
It doesn't matter what town you're in. It's the people, it's the place, it's what you bring to your building, to what's inside your 4 walls.
Yeah, man.
not to jump forward, but you know,
jump forward to
elaborating on your 4 walls. I've got 4 culinary degrees where I've run restaurants, owned restaurants, cooked in Italy, Michelin star chefs, you know, just competed in the Olympics in Canada, the Culinary Olympics, won a bronze medal with a team of 4.
That's awesome. That's pretty badass. I didn't know that about you.
I put myself in some weird shit around 20 to 24 years old. I was just traveling nonstop. When I was living in Europe, when I was in Italy, it was in October, man. Small game season. Pigs, pheasant, you know, rabbits. The guys were coming in the back door, dropping off fresh goats, fresh game. And we were just going ham. Having at it, just fucking around. I mean, you're in Europe. There's no rules in Europe back in 2006. You know, like there was free game, and I just was hooked ever since then. So I just turned into a full-blown addict. I just absolute. If I'm not in the kitchen, I'm in the woods. If I'm not in the woods, I'm on the water. Those 3 things. That's what we do.
And at night, you're in the bed with your lovely
Mrs.
woman?
Ghost Hunter.
Mrs. Ghost Hunter.
You should see the fucking shirt I just bought her. I'm gonna post it later. I'm going to blur out her face, but it says,
to make her look like a ghost?
Yeah. I vow to always love you even during deer hunting season. Because shit's starting to get dicey.
Yeah,
and it's only November 5th. So
trust me, I know.
Fucked.
I know. It's always good in the hood when I'm home from hunting, but as soon as that trip starts coming up the day before, what I always text you, Trev.
Yeah. I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, I'm in the fucking doghouse again. You know, it's that balance, man. It's tough to deal with, but at the same time, it's necessary. So
it's very necessary. That's why, unfortunately, I wasn't with you guys last week. Once a year, we plan a trip right before Halloween because she knows that's the death of me after Halloween. It's usually you don't see me until Thanksgiving, so she supports it.
Or maybe Christmas.
Well, it depends on what we get down.
So are you going to be here in deer camp this month, you think?
I have the week off.
Oh, that's awesome.
I took the week off. I'm not necessarily going to leave some of these deer that I'm chasing for the full week, but I'm going to come down and cook and hunt a couple days with you guys. And,
that'd be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be dope so you can meet the Nor'easter boys and stuff. Definitely. We always have a good time. Actually, Trev, we should make it our mission to make sure they get some blood on the ground this time around.
Absolutely.
And I think we should take one step above and probably run dub sets and film them. So this way they could use it for their promo purposes. I think that'd be really cool, man. Because you and I, we're going to get, and Ghost Hunter, we're all going to get our shit. Whether it be that weekend or not, we should really make it a mission to make sure they get a blood on the ground.
I'm hoping that I shoot the biggest deer in my life in New York the week before, so I don't even have to think about shooting a deer in Connecticut when I get back home for the rest of the season.
That's going to happen. We'll get that. We'll get to that in a moment. Actually, so what do you bring to the table now?
So what I'm bringing to the table now is I sold my restaurant. Someone very dear in my family got a very severe cancer, and I decided that family's more important than running a restaurant every single day. I wasn't able to hunt as much the last 3 or 4 years, so this is my year to dedicate it to my mother and dedicate it to me personally to hunt hard, to actually have a life again. So it's a big change for me. I'm still cooking. I got a whole recipe line coming out, cookbook. We're working on it. I got the time to do it. So I'm excited. You know, even though my mother's going through some shit, you know, she's a fighter and she's doing a great fucking job right now fighting this stupid shit. And
I'm sure.
Sorry, I get choked up.
No, it's cool because what I was going to say, I can relate, man, because I lost my mom at a very young age at 16, and that was rough. But I can honestly say that if your mom sees you being happy, trust me, that's probably the best medicine for her. So for you to go back to like you being happy and self-care, that's probably going to be the best medicine for her to just kind of be at ease and just live her life too.
Man, she had chemo today, right? I saw her before she left. She looks at me. She goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to go hit the woods for about 7 hours." She goes, "Good luck. I love you. Get me bones." Because those bones have the marrow that's like nutrition-wise, these holistic doctors, they suggest marrow from elk bones and whitetail bones.
What about Sika deer, mini elk?
I think all wild organic marrow. like red meat, marrow, bones from like femurs and vertebrae and spine. It's like,
bro, if you want, I got 2 aged ones in the fridge right now, and the last one's almost all clean of meat too.
Absolutely, we should do it together.
Yeah,
you know, maybe we'll even do a seminar. We'll do a live cooking segment.
That'd be awesome.
I think that's what we should start. You know,
Trev can be our official taste tester.
Okay.
You know, you know
I know
what?
he's game.
Hey, I got an idea. We could save all our asses, and we can cook for the wives.
That'd be dope.
Couple times a month. They get to hang out. We feed them. We wine them. We dine them. All of a sudden, we're cool for like 2-3 weeks. The rut's only 2-3 weeks.
Yeah,
you know?
true.
So we got a plan.
Yeah, I like that, man. So, what perfect segue to, and that's beautiful, by the way. What perfect segue to go to? Shout out to the Whitetail Experience, out Midwest. I think they're Ohio boys, so they're Middle Easterns.
Straight Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Oh no, wrong.
No,
wrong
that's
wrong.
Wrong Indian.
Shit.
You mean the alala,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's what I meant.
There we go. I was to say, Trev kind of sounded his tongue in something. And shout out to Whitetail Experience. They're all putting deer down on the ground, and I believe it was Byron that put out a post. What's the best tip that you can give for rutcation? And the first thing that I can think of, I mean, there's so many good tips out there, and there's a lot of really good comments on that question from that post. And the first thing that I thought of is, me personally, is making sure the at-home life and work is in order. So this way you can put yourself in the best situations for the rut. To elaborate a little bit is just make sure Mama Bear is happy. Actually, Byron said that. Remember what Brian Broderick said. Shout out to Brian Broderick from Day 6 Gears. Make sure Mama Bear is happy. Exactly doing that. You know, even if you suck at doing dishes or suck at doing laundry or you just suck, try not to suck. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. Yeah.
Really try.
Show the effort. So this way they see that you do love them. You are trying and they are important to you. But so is rut. It's
a big fucking deal.
It is. It happens for roughly 2 to sometimes 4 weeks a year.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. And you get hardcore rut in this state, you're looking at like 8 to 10 days. Like hardcore.
Yeah.
And then they lock down, and then you're dry for 3-4 days, and then the young guys are back on their feet, and then maybe you get another 3 or 4 after that.
Right.
But
we need this moon, man. This rut moon.
Rut moon. What do you mean by that?
The next moon phase.
Well, we're at 52% right now.
So the next one will be full. So then we have 24 hours of light, and that's going to kick off the estrus, and things are just going to be on fucking fire, dude.
Usually, like around the 18th is when you get that daylight, perfect amount of time in the day that triggers those does to go into heat, and they just
does and bros. It's all about does and
bros. I was
bros.
looking at does all night.
I think it's going to be before the 18th, though. With the moon.
You just reminded me of that meme.
It could be. What do you got?
The meme of the couple in bed and the dude's hunched over his phone.
Oh, yeah.
Because he just said, I'm looking at...
What is he thinking about?
I wonder who he's texting. And you're just looking at your trail cams, looking at all the does.
Oh, I got... I'd rather look at buck pictures than fucking other women. Like, I don't need any other women.
Exactly.
I don't have time for that.
One
shit.
is enough.
Yeah,
one is enough.
I love Mrs. Ghost Hunter.
I don't know how people do that. Like, whatever your forte is and whatever you're into, I don't know how you do more than one. I mean, shit. No. Especially if you're a hunter. It's like hunting takes up so much effort. Like thought process.
Focus.
Oh, my God.
And I mean, I've been up since 4 o'clock going strong. Hung 2 stands today. Saw a fucking giant, an absolute giant.
Yeah, that was a giant. CT buck giant.
Yeah.
They're out there, man.
They're
out there.
And I hate to
There's
say
no deer
this.
here.
There's no deer here.
No, I mean, shit, East Coast gets shitted on a lot because not everyone is like, oh, I want to go hunt the East Coast. But guess what? From tip to tip, they're here. I mean, you got moose.
Stay out.
You go from moose to bear to whitetail to hog, Sika deer, gator. I mean, shit. Yeah, even elk and PA.
Turkey.
Right. We have the biggest turkey, right?
The Eastern, yeah.
Them shits are fucking nasty.
They're like fucking dinosaurs. They're almost eye level with me. I'm kind of short, but I've seen some almost eye level. It gets weird.
Fucking monsters. Velociraptors.
I'm not that short.
So, yeah, man, we're looking forward to the monthly recipes of what you bring to the table, which is going to be really cool, man, and legit. So you're going to help out a lot of folks at home. And then this way they don't get the makeshift Mexican recipes for me. You know?
And there's nothing wrong with that. And what I want to do is take the fear out of the kitchen. Take the fear out of using cuts of meat that you don't know anything about and turning it into something fucking awesome. And that goes down into using every bit of that animal.
And what's best is, like, instead of someone asking us, hey, how do you cook shank? And me, well, I usually stab shank. I don't cook it. You know?
That's something you carry around in jail, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
No,
so, Trev, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, the last part about the whole cooking thing is throughout the whole segments and throughout the season, I really want to know what you guys are wanting to learn as well, too. You know, chime in, message me on Instagram, Ghost Hunter 89. I don't even know what it is. What am I? 80?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something. Just look me up, Ghost Hunter.
Yeah, you can find it through all of us somewhere.
Yeah, he likes
you
our
can
posts
ask me
sometimes.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so just whatever you guys want to know, just chime in, let me know.
You guys know how to get a hold of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's part of it, too. We respond. If we don't respond, hit us up again. And actually, I'm taking this moment right now. There is one tree stand safety harness that I was supposed to send out, but I can't find the message. And he actually wrote a killer review. I think it was SoCal something or other. Please reach out again. We have the harness. It's just my dumbass can't find the message. And we need to get you safe in the tree. So, Trev,
Ghost Hunter 2985.
That's me.
All right. Go on.
All right, so
Ghost.
So, Trev, we just released. Now it's probably going to be a week past. We just released the Wicked and Twisted Bowstring episode. What'd you think about Trader Jan's Wicked and Twisted Bowstrings and the family there?
Oh, it was great. It was an awesome place, man. The camaraderie in the shop is just next to none. The people are the greatest. I mean, it's like, dude, I was sitting there, man, and these people would just come in and rent bows and shoot bows, and there's just people in and out all day. New people that have never shot bows, you can go in there and just rent, lightweight recurves.
A kid even brought in his bow he made
out of a maple sapling.
That's badass.
Yeah,
dude,
man,
it was.
badass.
I mean, like, dude, it was kind of reminding me, because we don't have a lot of that stuff near us. That
the deer check-in too.
Yeah, the deer check-in. It's just all those things that we kind of lost here in Connecticut. It was all at Trader Jan's, dude, and it was so cool to see all that, man. Because I remember growing up in an archery shop and just fucking people in constantly, different people from all around are just in it, and it's just not like that no more around here, man. And it's just, I remember the check-in station at the local archery shop right near my house, and you would go there. We would go there on a Saturday morning after we were done hunting. Even if we didn't get anything, we would just pull in, and there'd be fucking 60 trucks there with just fucking deer everywhere. And it was just the coolest thing in the world, man. All the old timers just telling their stories. Everybody just telling their stories. They were all jacked up, all excited. And I think his name was Joe. When he got out of the truck and he was telling the story about the 6-pointer that he shot, Jack. Oh my God, man. It was just the coolest fucking thing in the world, man. It was like being in deer camp with this guy, and he just told us his story about this 6-pointer, and it just meant the world to him. And it was just so cool to be there and be part of that. And then just, there was so much shit. I mean, these guys are just so fucking cool. And
involved.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody was so nice. Like, I was trying to shoot the 40-yard in the back to get my HHA all sighted in with finding the right sight tape, and there was a guy named Steve that was in there. Shout out to Steve.
That's because you haven't gotten your CBE yet.
That's right. And so Steve was in there. He was sighting in his bow. Actually, he bought a CBE. He was sighting that in.
Yeah, who sold it to him?
Yeah.
I sold 2 that day.
Yeah. So he was in there sighting in his bow, and I was like, "Ah, man, I gotta." He's like, I was like, "Oh," I said, "You shooting? What yard are you shooting?" He's like, 30 yards, just trying to tune. And I was like, "Oh," he's like, I said, "Oh, I'll just come back after." He's like, "No, you're trying to get 40?" He's like, I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'll shoot 40 with you, whatever." So the guy just shot with me. We shot the shit. He was actually shooting serious arrows.
Oh no shit!
He had an OB bow. It was just cool, man. It was a fucking. We were there all day, man. We left the house at 7. And we didn't get home until probably 7 or 8 o'clock at night. We spent the whole entire day in this archery shop. It was so much fun. Jill is amazing. She's just fucking absolutely nasty with the bowstrings. And Steve, he's next to none for a bow tech, dude. The kid is just fucking.
You mean Jonathan?
Oh, Jonathan. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got
Steve was the dude that I sold that site to.
Yeah, that was the guy I was shooting. I meant Jonathan.
What do you? What about the other hood motherfucker?
Who, Theo?
Yeah.
Oh, who's Theo? I don't know how you
King
can forget
Shaka.
about King Shaka. This dude's nasty. Actually, I got gotten home and I'd watched his whole entire African video. It's like a half an hour long. That shit was dope as fuck.
I know.
Dude. Oh my god. It was
and he's a newer bow hunter too.
Insane.
Yep.
He just crushes fucking shoulders. Like, that's his thing. Just heart shots. Like, it's got to dump. He is just out of this fucking world.
He says he has one Zeus broadhead. We're going to make sure he has more than that.
I want to make sure that he fucking heart punches something with it, too.
I'm going to make sure he buys an Elite.
I don't have any Zeus broadheads.
He's on the OB team.
That's all right. He could be on the Elite team. Yeah. He's Elite Coast, too.
Speaking of Elite, how about the young guy that came in who had bought a bow off one of his coworkers for $200?
The E-Force.
The E-Force. A 2007 Elite E-Force, man. Or 2006.
No, 2007.
Yeah, because 7 was origination. Yeah. It was fucking badass. It was cool because was that the only Elite that day? Yeah, that was the only Elite. But yeah, he came
aside
in
from
with
ours.
Yeah, he came in with that fucking thing. It was just badass to see it, dude. That's where it all started.
You know what? It's so addicting, and we do spread that plague of positivity that here we are going into an obsession dealer, and they want to carry Elite now. They want to make the switch, bitch. You know what I mean? It's like they want to do it.
The new young hotties in town.
I'm just saying. And know what the biggest sell point was for all the bow techs there, and Jill especially, is she... I won't put her on blast, but she said the tunability and the shimless system would make her job so much easier. That's dope. That's dope. So, I mean, what do you think about Bow and Bridle? Our week coming up. Or actually, in podcast lane, we're probably there already.
Yeah. Super pumped about it, dude. Next to none, dude. Just the four of us being in deer camp, meaning me, D-Rock, Garrett, and Caddy Cowboy under one roof sharing deer camp together, dude. It's gonna be something else, man. And I'm just happy to go up there and see Steve, and
Steve Impey.
Steve Impey and Marcus Mulhauser's gonna be there.
He is gonna be there?
Yeah, he said he's gonna swing up.
Oh, that's gonna be dope.
Yeah, Mr. Mulhauser. Shabeen. And there's just going to be some nasty fucking giant whitetails.
Yep.
I am fucking pumped, dude.
Yep.
What's dope about this place is none of us have... I can't speak for Ghost Hunter, but none of us have ever hunted high fence.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so none of us have hunted high fence, and this is something that Steve MP at Bow and Bridle has really poured his heart and soul into to try to create or recreate free range. So to speak, kind of play God, I guess, in so many words, because it's a 2,000-acre parcel. Yes, it's still high fence. Yes, it is expanding.
I thought it was 3,000.
No.
2,000.
Yeah, it's 2. He owns 3,000, but only 2,000 is fenced in. So it is expanding, but he does it. What I would say, I mean, if you're going to do it the right way, he does it the right way. Like, you're not hunting feeders. You're not hunting, what's it called? Shit, drawing a blank right now. Bait. You're not hunting bait. So it's
no
like
feeders, no bait, no. I mean, you're not
hunting that.
Yeah.
He
No,
does
you're
have
hunting
them.
natural areas.
Yeah, and this dude his passion is for farming and growing deer. And he started with one genetic species, one set of genetics in the very beginning. And now he's going after it to the point that he's so picky to even see who comes into his place to even hunt it. So it's not something like, he's all about the money, just trying to get numbers in. No. The management, the coal deer, even taking out as much as needs to be, as well as the monsters that get too old that they just need to go.
Yeah, and not even that, but like what he's actually doing is if you were to have like infinity resources to build like the number one mecca of whitetails.
Infinite,
yeah. I mean, that's what he's doing. He has the infinite resources to build a place like we would all want if we had infinite money to build a place of a deer mecca.
And he's catering to not just the high-end hunter. He's catering to the working class hunter.
Yep.
It's very reasonable, and you're going to have to stay tuned to hear more about it. To be specific, I believe Caddy Cowboy and East Coast Trev, you guys are going to be hunting on the outskirts.
On the free range.
On the real free range. While the Modern Assassin and I are in the cage, so to speak. This way, really, we're all doing a bunch of filming to show the comparison of the free range versus the high fence. So this way you get to see it. And you know what? The main reason we attacked this project, right, is because we've never hunted high fence, like I said just a minute ago. And how are you going to know how that feeling is or that experience unless you try it? I think every hunter, if they are capable of, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just try it, to see what it's all about, because not every hunter out there has the time or ability to hunt like we do. We murder public lands. Yeah. That's what we aim for. We have our own private pieces that we try to manage ourselves, and we have the opportunity, so why not? You know, that's how you educate yourself and experience something out of the norm. So our mission is to enjoy all aspects of hunting. You know,
and not even that, but getting the chance to spend a week with somebody who is
so passionate,
so educated, and so passionate about management and food plots. I mean, Steve is the one who Caddy Cowboy reached out to in building his food plots and what was proper to put in those food plots and the way to actually design where to put a food plot and how to put a food plot, which is another video that we're actually coming out with. To show you kind of like what we do and how we do it. And this was all done because of Steve. And if it wasn't for Steve, then we wouldn't have the resources we used to actually do our own food plot.
So before we get our guest on the show, let's shout out to Tattooed in the Wild. Awesome folks out there. We have Dallas Brewer, the kind of mastermind behind Tattooed in the Wild, and Keith Chirac from Ohio, which is the dude that busts his ass in the field to get people that full experience. So to be clear, Tattooed in the Wild, when you hook up with them, they take you on a hunt. You experience a full-fledged hunt, whether it be turkey, whitetail, what have you. And after the full experience, you go to the Tattooed in the Wild studio and you get it tattooed on you to finish the experience. You got to check them out. This is a project that potentially was going to be on TV, and this is something you're going to have to tune into again because they turned it down for a very good reason. They're not about the glamour or the fame. They wanted to stay true to their roots, and they denied a TV series for a very good reason, and we're going to have them back on the show to explain why. So, Kills It Podcast. What do you think, Trev?
It's amazing.
Why is it amazing?
I don't know. It's just a badass fucking podcast. It's Garrett Benner. I mean, what kind of... What more fucking...
It's new.
Yeah.
It's raw. It's fucking real. No bullshit.
And the best part about it, it's one of the first podcasts that... I mean, there's other podcasts that they record and they videocast. And again, shout out to Working Class Bowhunter. They're on Carbon TV where they do videocasts. I'm not going to... say, don't take my word to paper. I don't think that those videocast episodes you can listen to them on iTunes. I'm not sure. YouTube, yes, but I'm not sure about like iTunes or iHeartRadio. But what Garrett is trying to venture in is what you can hear on every podcast platform. You're going to be able to visually see it on YouTube. Specifically, and episode 01, because he had a pretty cool episode, but episode 01, he goes into detail on past couple week recap.
He releases his first sponsor.
Yeah, himself. That fucking
That's
jackass.
yeah,
Like, he had me on
rolling.
edge. I'm like, this dude's taking a sponsor? I'm like, he don't take sponsors.
Me too.
And he said myself. I'm like, this motherfucker got him.
Yeah.
Got him.
I'm like listening. I'm like, who fucking sponsored him? I'm like, who?
Well-
Who? And then he's like, me, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Me.
Well, he kind of lied, though, because he does have a couple sponsors.
Yeah.
Tack Driver, Zeus Broadheads, and Elite Archery. But it was cool that he got us. You know what I mean? He's the man. He's part of the Beast Coast team. And you know what? Enough of us talking. Let's get the incredible Jeff from Fueled by Deathcast representing Death Wish Coffee on the line.
Death Wish Coffee Company. Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast.
I love Jeff, but sweet and high.
Death Wish Coffee presents Fueled by Deathcast.
All right, we're back on the line with incredible Jeff from the Fueled by Deathcast podcast.
That is fucking me.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. So this is really cool because, I mean, mid-hunting season, right now it's rut for us. I don't know if you know much about hunting or not, but you do know a little bit about the East Coast and East Coast Bowhunting podcast. So we are humbled to have you on the show, our coffee sponsor, because every hunter needs the world's strongest coffee in their cup.
I agree with that, and I know next to nothing about hunting, or I'm literally schooling y'all, and I know everything about. No, I don't know anything about it. But I am very curious about it because you know what's really cool about the show that you guys have is, you know, the passion that people have for the sport, for the hobby. And that's what we're all about at Death Wish Coffee, you know, is fueling people's passions.
Hell yeah. And you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because, believe it or not, I mean, I know I could speak for myself. I feel like we're one and the same because I look at your office, like where you stay, and you have like comic book heroes and figurines. And I have East Coast Strav and Ghost Hunter here at my place, my studio here. I'm actually in the hood, Waterbury, Connecticut. But they walk into like my display of toys and like memorabilia of comic book heroes. I got Pokemon shit, old ass Ouija board. So it's like, it's pretty cool to be one and the same, so to speak. So start us off right, Jeff. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and where we can find you.
All right. I am Jeff Ayers, otherwise known as the Incredible Jeff. I am from Saratoga Springs, New York, upstate New York, and I work for the Death Wish Coffee Company. And people can find me pretty much throughout everything that Death Wish puts out, pretty much social media-wise. Like I do a lot with our podcast space and a lot of our video and audio production as well for, you know, various things. And I get to have a lot of fun being me, which is weird.
That's fucking awesome.
That is, man. That's the best, man. There's nothing better than just being yourself. And
it's true.
That in itself, it's pretty cool, the team that you represent and you're a part of. I mean, I found Death Wish Coffee through your podcast, actually. And it's been an explosion of a brand, actually. It's East Coast #1, which is huge. Straight out of New York. Where's home base for Death Wish Coffee?
All right, so the long story long is that in 2012, owner and creator Mike Brown, he was co-owner of a coffee shop in Saratoga Springs, New York, called Saratoga Coffee Traders, and it was failing, and he wanted to figure out a way to make a really strong cup of coffee for his customers, because customers would always come in and be like, what's your strongest cup of coffee? And, you know, he'd give them espresso or he'd give them, you know, some dark roast, and they'd like it okay, but he wanted to make something that they'd be really jazzed about. So he went mad scientist and created what would become Death Wish Coffee. And that was 2012 in Saratoga Springs and in a basement of a coffee shop. And that basically bore the company that you know today, which you found out about. And through a lot of trial and tribulation, like one of Mike's favorite stories is that he was running that coffee out of the basement and, basically going sale to sale and leveraging those sales, getting people to review his coffee, tell other, you bought the coffee, so you tell 2 friends and they hopefully buy the coffee and they tell 2 friends and all that. And what that led to was someone on the production side of Good Morning America got Death Wish coffee and put it in the hands of the hosts, and then they wanted to feature the coffee on Good Morning America.
Hell yeah.
Which is amazing, right?
Hell yeah.
And they contact Mike, and Mike is, of course, like, let's do this. You come on down to the shop and you can interview me. And they do that. And granted, again, I just want to say again that the company is still in the basement of a coffee shop, hand packing coffee orders and all that. And then the next day, I mean, this was almost a year after the coffee company had started, but still, the next day after getting that phone call and taping the thing, it's on Good Morning America, and he goes from getting like 2 orders a day to 20,000.
Jesus.
Wow.
So Death Wish Coffee got kicked off of Amazon, got kicked off of eBay for life, and got completely banned from the seller site that they were on because they just could not fulfill the orders. But Mike doubled down and was like, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to fulfill these orders. And it took months. There were orders that should have been fulfilled in a week, and 2 months later, he finally was able to get the coffee to the person. But he did it, and he did whatever it took, refunded people, that whole customer service, angle for it, and was able to build it into what it is today.
Which is what we say, Death Wish Coffee, crack in a cup.
It is crack in a cup.
It really
is crack in a cup. One of my favorite, you guys are literally echoing one of my favorite quotes ever. When we came out with our cold brew, our canned cold brew coffee, Norman Reedus, Daryl from The Walking Dead, tried it and said the exact same thing. So you guys are in good company. He said, this is literally liquid crack.
That's what I call it that all the time.
I think that's a great, like, I don't know, endorsement. I'm not even talking on the celebrity angle. Even you guys saying that when anyone says the product that we're putting out, it likens it to crack. Yo, look, let me just say this. Crack is terrible. It's a terrible drug. It did terrible things. But boy, did it sell well. It really
kept you awake.
that whole model was a really great model.
You never see a crackhead falling asleep in a tree stand.
No, fuck no.
And they still sell it today. So
it's true. It's very true.
Have a cup of your coffee. You could drag like 4 deer at one time.
Oh, man, that's great. That's great.
I just love the fact that on the bag it says, harness your superpowers.
Bro, it's got a warning label on it. It's got a warning label on
warning.
my coffee.
I'll explain both those parts. So the first part, the warning label, that kind of stems from where Mike, the owner and creator, that's where he kind of came up with the idea. When he was coming up with this idea of World's Strongest Coffee, his famous story, which I love, is that when he was going to create this coffee, he did a Google search. Now, go back to 2011, 2012, right? He goes on the internet, and he does a search for the world's strongest coffee, and nothing came up.
Really?
It didn't exist. That's why he did it. Because he was just like, wow, here's a market. There's no such thing. Nobody's saying it. Nobody's saying they have the strongest coffee. There's no such thing, so maybe I could do that. So, again, he goes to the mad scientist, and he makes that happen. But then he thinks about, how am I going to brand this? How am I going to make it, where his idea was, if I were to have this bag of coffee or this cup of coffee or whatever, and it was in your kitchen, at your apartment or your house or whatever, and it's on your kitchen counter, why the fuck are you going to pick it up?
Because of the logo.
Exactly. His mindset was, I have to create something where you're going to go, I got to pick that up. I have to. I can't let that sit on the counter. And so he thought of like the old world poison bottles, those old like toxic warning labels.
Yeah.
You know, they like
from like Looney Tunes and shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the old Bugs Bunny cartoons when like they'd make a potion and like the skull and crossbones would come out. You know, like it's like the thing that 100% has a warning label on it is like, do not touch this. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna touch this.
You're gonna fucking touch it, right?
Yeah. Like the big red button you're not supposed to touch because it's gonna implode.
Exactly.
What's the first thing you do? You punch the big red button.
Exactly. So he comes up with that idea, and that's the original label for sure. We've had that forever. So the other side of that, the whole, harness your superpower, that was born from us really getting into the comic book space. And you brought that up earlier, like in my studio, I have a lot of effigies to comic book creators and comics and all that kind of stuff. And that is twofold. One, I am a huge nerd. I've been a comic book fan my entire life, and that is a lot of me in there.
Amen,
but also,
brother.
But also, too, Death Wish Coffee really wanted to get into the comic book space, and we did that in a very organic way. Like, Mike wanted to be a part of this community because one of my favorite stories that I tell a lot is that as a comic book fan and someone who is like a nerd fan about it, who loves like original artwork, and all that other stuff, if you ever go to a comic book convention and you look at the original artwork, and I'm talking gold and silver age artwork on the big sheets of paper where they block out all the panels and all that stuff. They're drawn in, it's hand lettered. I dare you to find one without a coffee stain on it.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's a good point to bring up.
The entire industry runs on coffee because these poor people, these poor men and women, are up all hours of night writing and drawing and inking and lettering the comics and love. And so, Mike really wanted to be part of this space. And now we can say that we really are part of the comic book space. We have our own comic book, Death Wish Coffee Presents Odin Force. Issue 3 is about to come out.
That's awesome.
Subscribe to deathwishcoffee.com and you'll know when that comes out. And it's going to be a free comic that's going to be added to every order. We've done it with the last 2 issues, and all 3 issues are going to be available digitally too, which is really rad.
Yeah, that's dope.
Get a comic book with coffee? That's awesome.
That's the thing. I'll actually get to that in a second. I just wanted to finish by saying the reason why that exists on the bag is because we love that industry so much. So to harness your superpower is our love of the comic book industry reflected on our bag. Speaking of the comic, though, yes, it is a comic from a coffee book or a coffee company, but it has nothing to do with coffee. It is Vikings fighting monsters, and that's it.
Awesome.
That's badass.
Yeah.
That's badass. That's awesome, actually. I'm definitely gonna. I'm a nerd too. I don't want the digital copy. I'm not that big of a hippie anymore, so I want the paper in my hands.
Well, good. Because I'll tell you this right now that all of your listeners can be super jealous unless they go to deathwishcoffee.com, subscribe to our mailing list, and then when they know it comes out, they can make a purchase and get a copy for themselves. But you guys got copies coming to you when they come out. So,
hell yeah.
So all your listeners can be freaking jealous of that. So.
Appreciate that for sure, man. That's awesome.
I'll read it while I'm watching and looking at no deer in Connecticut up in my tree.
I was going to say, you guys spend a lot of time just in a tree doing fucking nothing.
7 hours,
I
bro.
better give you some comics at least to friggin' pass the time.
There we go. We like that plan.
Thank you.
I'll be giggling in the tree.
Oh, man. So, Jeff, how did you get involved with Death Wish? Like, what was your kind of entry to the whole corporation?
Well, funny enough, it was the comic book world. I was writing and podcasting for a geek website called Fanboys Inc. And basically it was like a podcast network, but it was also like comic book reviews and movie and television, like nerd and pop culture, review kind of stuff. So I was writing blog space for them and also on the side hosting some of their podcasts. And we were also sponsored by Death Wish Coffee, which was great because my oldest friend in the world is a guy named Eric Donovan, and he heads up our wholesale division at Death Wish Coffee, and he's one of the original employees of Death Wish Coffee. And so I've known about the company for a while, and I just happened to be doing this as a hobby. It wasn't my job. I was cooking in restaurants and shit. And but as a hobby, I was, reviewing comic books and doing some podcasts, and we happened to get sponsored by Death Wish Coffee. And that was at the moment that Mike really wanted to try and get into the comic book industry. So I had a lot of these connections. So I kind of consulted with the company for about a year and a half almost, and helped them really get into the space. I introduced them to all the creators that actually create our comic book now. Ron Mars, the writer, actually is most well known as the creator of Kyle Rayner, who is one of the Green Lanterns.
Oh,
and
sweet.
And a couple other things. And so I got them in touch with that, and I also got them in touch with New York Comic Con, and was able to bring Death Wish Coffee down to New York Comic Con as the official coffee in 2016. So I was like auxiliary, like helping out the company, but didn't really work for them. And when I left that site and stopped working for them, that's when Mike approached me and was like, I would like you to come work for me and start a podcast, because I think that it's something that could be beneficial to a brand that is all about fueling people's passions, and add more, something entertaining and passionate for our fan base, but also bring other fans into it. And that's kind of like how I started officially working for the company.
That's a pretty badass story, man, because it goes to show us, like, if you have the passion for something that you believe in, that just by naturally doing what you do best, which is being yourself, it brings better things. So it's a cool kind of encouraging story for everyone to just really follow what they're passionate about, which leads me to the reason why Death Wish is backing up our podcast, is because, in our world, the hunting industry or the outdoor industry, everyone has some type of go-to coffee that they go to, and we're kind of that. I don't want to compare ourselves to Howard Stern, because we don't compare, but we're like the outcast. We're the non-typical deer, if you will. Everyone has just to shout out a few contenders. Backwoods Coffee, Black Rifle Coffee, Hunter's Blend. It's all revolved something along with hunting. Whereas Death Wish is we're East Coast and hardcore. We're like the hardcore hunting house of the East Coast, and we represent it from tip to tip. And just to wake up and pour that Death Wish into our mug is yeah, this deer has a fucking Death Wish this morning. You know what I'm like?
Straight fuel.
It is fuel. Crack in a cup. It's we're waking up when the sun isn't even up yet, so we need something to really get us up and going. Or even when we're doing them all day sits. So I guess what I'm trying to say is how do you think Death Wish fits in the outdoor industry, in your perspective?
All right, I'll give you first. First, I think that we fit in that perspective is you are outdoors. You are tracking. You are getting ready to, hopefully make the shot that's going to make the kill. But that's a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of patience going into that, right? I'm not going to call any coffee out, but Death Wish Coffee, we pride ourselves on a low-acid coffee, and a coffee that's not going to hurt your gut, and a coffee that's going to give you the most caffeine you possibly can, but not make you basically go have to shit your pants. So we can be with you while you got to be patient. So I'll say it to start there, because I think from the chemistry of the coffee, I think we're the cleanest cup of coffee for anybody who's, really putting the time into, making the perfect hunt, which takes a lot of time.
That's awesome. So
I love how you fit that. That was amazing.
Hold on, there's a
but I'll keep going. The other side of it is, I think Death Wish coffee is perfect for the hunting community because, sure, there are a lot of companies out there that are catering to your lifestyle. We are catering to your passion. We are part of your lifestyle because you're passionate. If you want to go hunt, or if you want to go be a nurse and save lives, or you want to go overseas and fight in our military, or you want to just sit in a dark room and code video games, I don't care what it is, whatever you're passionate about, that's what our coffee's about. And that's why we want to be with the hunting community as much as anybody else.
Boom.
Amen.
Boom. I mean, shit. I have nothing to say after that. You know what I mean?
Just ruined.
But also the not
just
pooping
melted
stuff.
my face.
Go back to the not pooping stuff. I really want to hammer that home. That we're not going to make you poop a lot. And
that right there is sales tomorrow. We're just going to.
Yeah, we could.
You just right there is a huge fact that you're not going to. Your stomach's going to be okay. You're not.
It's going to be okay. You can stay in that tree for 14 hours if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't make that claim. Even after 14 hours. Even after 14 hours, I got to poop. I'm sorry. I don't care.
It'll be dark.
Okay.
It's past the coffee at that point.
I don't care what it is.
We can leave the baby wipes at home.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll add to that.
Here's my question for you guys. What do you do when you're in a tree stand and you got to poop? What do you do?
Trev, start us off.
I get down and go home.
Really? You go all the way home?
It's the end of the day. Or do you come back?
No.
I'll come back if I have to, but sometimes I don't know. I kind of prepare myself for this, so I don't. Some people just get down, go to the bathroom, dig a hole, and then get back up in the tree and keep on hunting.
Damn.
What about you, Ghost Hunter?
I don't even get down.
Oh, damn.
You bring a bucket?
No, I bring real heavy-duty gallon Ziploc bags.
Oh, my God.
And plastic gloves, latex gloves, and I hammer down.
I think I just puked a little in my mouth.
Wow.
I think I just
I don't. If I have to get down, I'll get down. But I'm still going in a bag. I'm not digging no hole. I've dug enough fucking holes in my life.
Wait a minute.
I've done it.
Wait a minute.
I'm dead serious.
What do you do with the bag after you Ziploc it?
Put it in his backpack.
No, wait.
So,
Let me answer.
No, I'm dead serious. I have a pretty big backpack. I have a 55-gallon trash bag that I use in case I ever need it as a poncho, a tarp, anything. I'm weird. I'm ghost hunter. Shit gets weird out in the woods.
Literally?
I take that huge bag and put that little bag of shit in that huge bag, tie it up, Ziploc, and I carry my shit out with me.
So what do you do when you put it after that big black bag? Do you hang it on your bow hanger, or what? Is it in your pack, or what do you do?
Just leave it at the bottom of your tree.
I think I just puked again, man.
I'm telling you, it's fine.
Shit.
I've shot
the things you learn about your friends.
Do you know I've shot deer with shit at the bottom of my tree before?
Wow.
Yeah, that is wild. Jeff, I never even knew this about this guy. I'm
so glad I pulled this scab off, guy.
Hey, I've been elk hunting, and you walk in 4 miles one way. I'm not walking 4 miles to go to the bathroom. You make it work.
Holy shit.
I've lost socks, okay?
I believe it. Seriously, though, as a guy who doesn't hunt, like, I've thought about this a lot. Like, if I've been tracking an animal for hours in the woods and I gotta poop really bad, like, what am I gonna do? Like I'm so glad that you guys all have a different answer. I think that's amazing.
D-Rock, what do you do?
Well, I can't top your story. I'm actually known to be the guy that takes forever in the shitter first thing in the morning, because I actually, I'm an older gentleman.
Just vacate.
Yeah, I'm 38 years old now. My birthday was on the 17th of October, so
Happy birthday.
Thanks, man. I'm an old man now. So what I actually do, I get up, I take a shit, and then after taking that morning shit, I walk around some to kind of process that some more. And if I have to, I'll take my second shits of the morning, and then I go in the woods. So I haven't run into that predicament. One good piece of advice, though, is don't have Mexican the night before you hunt.
Or Chinese.
I bet.
But I can't top Ghost Hunter, man. That story, like I said, man, it's
I've done it. I've done it more than
I
once.
learned something tonight.
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
know if I wanted
Amazing.
to learn it though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
Going back to the tree stand and having having the coffee that doesn't ruin your stomach.
Yes.
I will tell you this much: is the thermos
Oh, yeah.
tumblers are fucking dynamite in the tree stand. Not only do the Death Wish tumbler thermos, I guess, is that what you call them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Denver's thermos.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
So those, I'll tell you this, is that A, they seal up so nice that you can't even smell the coffee. And B,
Yeah.
I've gone like 6 or 8 hours with the coffee in there, and the shit was fucking hotter than when I put it in there, I swear.
No, I swear too. It's a fucking great company. Clean Canteen. We work with those guys, and like, yeah, the first time I ever had one, I forgot. I drove to work at like 8 in the morning, and I forgot my coffee, and I got out of work at like 5 at night or whatever, and it was hotter than it was in the morning. It was ridiculous.
I got a crazy story about those, and so I had my tumbler, and I am a fisherman. So I left it on the fucking dock, right? And it gets knocked off the dock, and now it's bouncing around in the rocks in the ocean. Okay? I get back, I open it, I take a sip of it, and it was still fucking hot after I've been bouncing around in the ocean for,
no salt water.
for 6 hours.
Wow.
And I have a good marketing aspect that you might appreciate is the way his thermos looks now. It looks more patined. I think that's a good look for it, man. I was like, oh, wow, where'd you get the special edition thermos? He's like, oh, I just found it in the sea because it fell off the dock. I'm like,
Yo, send me a picture. I gotta see a picture of this.
Straight up, man.
When
Straight up.
It's at home. When I actually we will be able to send it to you because it is in my car today. So when we're done with the podcast, I will make sure to send you a picture.
Excellent. That's ridiculous. That's so funny.
Oh, man.
That's so funny. Hey, I gotta say, you guys will be excited to hear about this. Not to be super business selly, but this just makes sense. This week on Thursday, actually, Death Wish Coffee is coming out with our brand new On the Go kit, which is kind of perfect for hunters and campers and all sorts of stuff. It's canvas like bag, like think like almost like a shaving kit bag, you know, like that about that size, and 2 camper mugs come in it, and 10 single serve pour over packs of Death Wish coffee come in that as well. So all you need is hot water. So if you have like a thermos of hot water, you could literally brew a pot of coffee in a tree stand right with you, or 10 pots if you want.
Damn,
deer
that's
camp.
dope.
That thing's sick for deer camp.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
When does this come to
life?
Yeah,
Thursday.
It comes out. It comes out on Thursday. I will make sure that you guys get one.
That's awesome. That's awesome because we're hunting a preserve in Saratoga Springs, and we're gonna make sure to come shake your hand, man, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm more of a hugger, so just be prepared.
That's okay. I like hugs.
All right. And you know what? It's cool. In podcast land, we'll probably release this coming Monday, but we'll make sure to reciprocate and advertise this on the go kit for you.
Well, we're already doing it, because even if you're releasing it on Monday, like, I mean, we're making a bunch of these. They're not gonna like sell out before that. They'll be around for at least almost probably to the end of the year. We made a bunch.
Oh, hell yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
so we're hoping everybody gets their hands on them, and they're gonna make great Christmas presents for
yeah.
the hunter or camper or on the go person in your life. So
That's awesome, man. So what better time to segue into Fueled by Deathcast? I know that's kind of like a curveball real quick, but this is a really cool show. Like, I'm a huge fan of it. Again, I found Death Wish through it. I'm a big podcast listener. Nowadays, I don't really listen to too many hunting podcasts, only because I don't want to be influenced, but I love listening.
Understand.
Yeah, I love listening to other podcasts, though, because I like to kind of take away what I like out of it, because, for example, your podcast, it's really trendy in the sense of you guys are all over the place, and that's kind of what we are to the hunting industry. And, like, to be specific, I have a music background, and that's what I did primarily before all this. Having Rich from Guns N' Roses on, that was dope as fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, another favorite was Sadistic, the underground dude breaking out.
Yeah.
He's more poetic, but breaking into the hip-hop scene. I'm like, that shit's dope as fuck. So, and then not only that, getting Coffee into space, like, dude, are you kidding me? You know? So please enlighten us with Fueled by Deathcast and how you even approach it, because it's just badass.
Well, thank you very much. But like, let me start by saying, like, you hit the nail on the head. Like, I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts too for the same reason, and I listen to podcasts not just for entertainment, but to glean what I like and what I don't like out of them, because even that little bit helps you create a better show. And I say that to anybody out there who wants it, because the greatest thing about podcasts is you could start one. If you like, anybody who's listening right now, you could start one on your smartphone in your pocket. Like, you can do it, but to get good at it, you need to listen to them and know what you like and what you don't like, and kind of craft it towards that. And that's a really good thing to do. You know, I do that a lot as well. But my show, it is very eclectic. I really enjoy doing it. When Mike brought me on with the company to start the podcast, I told him straight off, I was like, I'm not going to start a podcast about coffee, because that'll be boring, and I will get 3 episodes in and there'll be nothing to talk about. That's it. Like, you know, like, there's only so much you could talk about fucking coffee. I don't want to do that. But he built his company on fueling people's passion. So I was like, let's use that as a theme. So it's all about, you know, what the through line of every episode is what fuels you. And everybody I talk to, it doesn't matter who you are or what you do. I just want to know. I want to know who you are, why you do the things you do, and what fuels you to do those things, you know, like, and I think that creates in itself a really interesting and valuable conversation about life and passion in general, because life isn't fun if you're not jazzed about something. If you don't care about anything, life sucks. And then you die. Right. And whatever, you know, like, but I mean, like, everybody's got something, even in a dark corner, that really gets them off and is just, man, I really like this. And it could be the thing that you make money on. It could be your job, or it could be your hobby, or it could be none of those things. It could be like this thing that you get to do once a year, but it's the coolest thing and you love it so much. And that's what you're really passionate about, you know? And I think passion incites this really cool conversation about life, but also about inspiration and, you know, the power of intention and suggestion and magic and all of that. And I think, not to get so off the topic, but that is how eclectic this show has become. And it's a lot of fun to do, because, you know, it brings me to a lot of different avenues. You brought it up, like Sadistic. I never thought I'd talk to someone like that. And he's hip hop, but he's so poetic. He's so off the cuff, you know, and avant-garde. And then to another side of the spectrum, you got Richard Fortus, who literally plays in Guns N' Roses, which is one of those bands that people in every country knows their name. You don't even know like how to speak English, maybe, but you can say Guns N' Roses, you know, like, because it's
Richard Forty,
exactly,
Guns N' Roses.
It's one of those terms, like it's like, so, you know, like, the spectrum of all of that, it's so amazing to be a part of a show like this and be able to create something that I feel is leaving its mark on the world and bringing something into the world, but it is also being able to bring the story, the passion of people from all different walks of life, no matter what it is. And, you know, to end that harkens back to the theme of the show. Fueled by Deathcast is because we are all fueled by death. We all are fueled by the end game. We are all going to die. We all know it. going to happen. And we all want to leave this world maybe just a little bit different before we inevitably just leave it for good.
Word.
Wow.
Really, really well put, man. And I do have to. I love the evolution of the show too. That now you put in like a little mini series of the science mini series. I think you release on Sundays now, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope, man.
Thank you. That stemmed from really like taking a hard look at the show, and I'll give you a little bit of backstory. Like when Mike hired me to do the podcast, it was basically like, let's do a podcast, which is an audio thing. So we had this idea for the Fueling Your Passions and an interview-based thing, but we were like, let's pack it with as much entertainment as possible. And so if you listen to the first, I think 40 or 50 episodes, I don't remember when we actually stopped doing this. They start off with the intro like we did it, and then we would do the science segment, and then we would do this thing called the Death Wish Death List, and we would talk about celebrities that would die every week, and then we would do Death Wish you a happy birthday, and we wish community members happy birthdays, and then we do the Death Wish update, which would talk about like products that were coming out or whatever, and then we would have other segments like the roast where Dustin and I would get like mad about something, and then after all of that we would get into the interview. And after 40 or 50 episodes, I took a look at the show and I was like, we're packing too much into this. Like if someone's tuning in to listen to Richard Fortas on the show or whatever, they're sitting through maybe a half hour of stuff they don't give a fuck about.
Right.
And
they'll skip right through that shit, yeah.
Or maybe they give a fuck about that and they don't give a shit about who I'm talking to that week. So I just thought, I kind of came to the conclusion. I was like, wow, there's a lot more to do here. So the best performing part out of all that, the thing that we got the most comments about, the thing that people were most excited about was that science segment. So that kind of was like, okay, that can be its own thing. And so now, like you said, there's a mini science episode every single Sunday, and the podcast itself, Fueled by Deathcats, with the interview, which is now just the interview, it's just an intro into the interview, that comes out every Thursday.
That's dope. I like it, man. I like it because with any good thing there comes evolution. And I'm going to put in our shameless plug is we are sponsored by Nor'easter Game Calls out of Maine, specifically Carmel, Maine. We started with our ECB Blood Series game call, and we've evolved to the Evolution Series, which is a game changer. I mean, we have world-renowned hunters, very well-known hunters that use it, and they say that there's no game call like it. So right now we're running a special. You get two of them. You get your Nor'easter ECB koozie, a free lanyard. I know we said up to November 1st, but guess what? Just drop East Coast Trev, Ghost Hunter, or my name, D-Rock, and just say that we said you still get that feature, and you get them for free. I'm sure Mark at Nor'easter Game Calls will not disagree, so get on it. The rut is here. It's here. So that's very exciting. We need our Death Wish coffee to keep us running and fueled. So this way we can continue doing what we do best, which is put blood on the ground. I mean, in a way, Jeff, we're fueled by death too. We want to get those animals on the ground.
Damn right.
Shit, man. So I have a question for you. Not that I won't say, do you ever see yourself hunting or whatnot, but what's your perspective on hunting in general? Like, how do you see it? Because you're not a hunter right now.
Right.
Do you see it being an important part of, like, the circle of life? Or do you even see yourself getting outdoors and getting more involved in the sense of conservation? Because conservation can be anything. The camper, even paying for permits to go through national wildlife refuges. I mean, how do you look at the hunting industry or the outdoor industry as a whole?
I guess that's a couple-fold question. Like, the hunting industry as a whole, I think is needed. Like, I look at hunting like farming or woodworking or skills that need to be passed down generation to generation and need to be known. I feel, even though it's something that I don't do, I don't think that it is undervalued, or it should be undervalued. Let me say it like that. I don't think I will. Hunting isn't for me. It's not something. Again, I want to preface that by saying, like, I think that it's valuable. It's not the way I'm wired. It's not an animal thing. It's not I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a patient thing. I'm just not patient enough to want to fucking go for that. Even like video games that like I'm a big video gamer, and when you have to fucking hunt in a video game, pisses me the fuck off because I have to wait for this shit. Like, I want to just take my sword and just stab a deer, and like I can't because I gotta wait in the bushes, and like I gotta fucking be downwind and all this garbage. And like I just fucking hate it. Like, and that's just me. But like in a real world situation, like I really think like, you know, hunting is a valuable skill, and especially in conservation. And I totally agree with that. Like, in, you know, creating an ecosystem and keeping an ecosystem alive and like conservation. I'm against people who don't take it seriously. And that stems from people who want to go hunting with, you know, semi-automatic weapons, to people who wanting to go to the far reaches of the world and hunt an animal that just doesn't need to be hunted. I think that's where I draw the line with hunting, but I think everything else about it is valuable. It's a skill that shouldn't be lost.
You know what? That's really cool that you mentioned that, because we don't, obviously this is a hunting podcast. We don't get too many non-hunter guests on, and we really appreciate you kind of giving us your perspective, because we don't know what a non-hunter thinks.
Yeah,
because it's our everyday. So it's very cool for you to bring that up. Like, what you brought up, hunting with automatic weapons. What deters you with that? Like, what's your first? Because it's on every hunter's mind. Like, what is your first reaction when you see something like that?
To me, there's no skill. Like, if you're going. You guys are a bow hunting podcast. You guys are going out there like predominantly hunting with bows, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of skill involved in that. If you're able to take a semi-automatic or automatic weapon and fire multiple things, I don't care what they are, multiple projectiles at your target in a very few amount of seconds, then to me that takes the skill out of it. Okay. Because again, I hate hunting in video games, but if you give me a bazooka or a frickin', you know, Uzi, I will just fire in the direction of the thing that I need the achievement for, and I'll get it. And it's like, great, okay, I got that achievement. I got my hunting achievement, and I'm done with that. I don't have to worry about that. Right, I feel like hunting should be a skill. I feel like if you are going to fell an animal, then you're doing it because you had the skill to do that, not because I fired in the general. I depressed a trigger in the general direction, and an automatic weapon did the rest.
You know what? Much respect to that, because I mean, to an extent, I definitely agree. Because there are some hunters that are unskilled that will use that, because. A good example of that is like hunting hogs from a helicopter with a fully automatic weapon. That actually does take some skill, and the best of the best don't fire off randomly in that general direction, which is an acquired skill with much practice, because it's super tough. But again, I do see your point, because you put someone that just has more money than to know what to do with and put them in that same chopper. Specifically, the Modern Assassin, our Beast Coast #Beast Coast teammate, He was involved in a particular hunt. I won't get into detail because I don't know if this should be said or not. But he got in a situation with someone that was supposedly skilled, and eventually that gun was almost pointed towards him.
Jesus.
Yeah. Because,
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
that's
exactly,
what I mean.
Exactly. So I definitely understand what you're saying. So before we get into it too much, I'm just curious, for a non-hunter point of view, what species in your head shouldn't be hunted? Because this is good information right now. You know?
I mean, look. I just not. We could go the conservation, animal activist route, and I don't really want to go that far down into it.
No, of course not.
For real, animals that are only hunted because for the reason to say I hunted this animal, and that same animal, there's only, let's say, 100 of those in the world.
Right.
I don't think that's fucking worth it.
Right.
Like, you know what? We've already hunted, or maybe we haven't. Maybe their predators have hunted them to that point. You're not proving fucking anything at that point. I understand it's such a fucking weird thing for me because like I understand from a hunter's perspective, the ultimate game, that idea that, that there are animals out there that are the hardest to fucking hunt because you never see them. And when you do, you have to fucking hunt them from, completely different areas. And it's the craziest thing in the world. I understand the allure of that, but I just feel like the idea of hunting something for the pure fact of just saying I did that, to me as a non-hunter, it's like I would want there to be, I was skilled enough to do this, but also the animal was worth it to hunt, and not just because there's only 10 of them in the world and I got one of them.
Right.
It was really hard to find them because there's only 10 of them.
So a lot of the times I think there's a lot of misconception of this is that lions, for example, right? So a lot of people, that's a huge thing for us because of Cecil and the person was from Connecticut, so on and so forth. So I'll just use that as an example. They'll say, you shouldn't hunt lions. Well, a lot of the times, a lot of those countries and a lot of people from, say, America, for example, they don't understand that the population of those animals is so high that they need to be hunted there. And not even that, but, if a hunter does come from America to Africa to hunt a lion, for example, that's $30,000. That goes back into the economy, into the tribes. And the meat gets donated to the tribes also. I know that there is some animals that are out there that some people hunt for no reason.
Right.
I
Which
guess
I
that
agree
are,
with
are
Jeff
trophy.
on that.
I
Yeah.
110% agree with you. But there is some animals that some people, I guess, get misconstrued about that are actually need to be hunted in these areas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So I totally do. And I do want to say again, that goes back to what I was saying about conservation. I am all for hunting when it comes to conservation. If it is helping an ecosystem, it is helping a region, and there is a need to hunt. I mean, we're talking East Coast, God damn it, kill the deer for the love of God. There are so many deer. And that's why, every time deer hunting season comes around, there's just posters that are there's deer, fucking kill them, please. It's always like that. And I get that. Conservation is a thing, but
No, I totally agree with you. I just wanted to stiffen it up as far as kind of just people that may not, because say that if they're your listeners and they come to listen to this, that there is other animals out there, because some people kind of get misconstrued about what is a trophy animal, what needs to be hunted, what doesn't need to be hunted. But you're absolutely right. There is some animals that are just hunted because the person has more money than they know what to do with, and they're able to kill that animal.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. And it's nice to hear that a non-hunter is for conservation and hunting. Because at the end of the day, I mean, shit, Jeff, if shit hits the fan, bro, You got friends in Connecticut. It's like you can come to our tribe and we'll help you eat. You know?
Yeah.
just bring that coffee though.
Of course, but again, that's going back to what I was saying. Like, I feel like this is a skill that needs to be passed down. It needs to be honed. It needs to be, championed by people. Even though it's not something that I'm into, I'm glad that there are people like you guys who are, so passionate about hunting, because it is a skill that I don't think should be lost in humanity.
Right. Maybe one day Death Wish might, you could talk to the man upstairs and be like, you know what? We need to slide into the hunting industry a little bit more. And we're more than glad to be that representation. And hopefully we do you guys right. That's the most important, especially with all our sponsors, is like we really try. We don't take on sponsors that we don't believe in, number one. And then number two, it's something that we use in our hunt. Like it's essential. It's so strong of a coffee. Truth be told, as soon as I'm done drinking it, if I'm able to, I mouthwash. Because that shit is strong as fuck.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I drink Death Wish every single day. I literally drink Death Wish every single day. I love it.
It's awesome.
And he used to dip. So the combination of dip and Death Wish coffee, he used to come out with dragon breath.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, man. You made it to one of our ending segments.
Okay.
Ninja tip of the day. What do you have for anything outdoors advice or even a life hack? Ninja tip of the day.
Ninja tip of the day. Okay. This might not be a ninja, but it is. You know what? This is my ninja tip of the day. I always think of this. Always be aware of your surroundings, and that is not just from the idea of, know what's around you. I mean, know what's behind you, because no matter where you are, I don't care where you are. I don't care if you are in the woods. I don't care if you're in downtown Los Angeles. You can find an angle where you can see behind yourself, whether it is a window or it is the way, like, you can kind of like post up on a tree and look behind you. You can always see behind yourself, and you can always know way more than what you actually see. And just be aware, because it's scary out there. And this is coming from a kid who got beat up a lot. And so you always got to know what's behind you. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? We say this pretty often, but that is an excellent ninja tip, man.
It is.
No, it's real. It's as real as it gets.
It is real.
It is.
And I mean, I'm halfway joking. But I'm halfway telling the truth, because if you really look for it, you really can post up and make sure that you even know what's behind you in all 360. Like,
yeah, man. Tomorrow, halfway through my hunt, I'm gonna be looking behind me.
Never
looking for myself.
Never know that deer's gonna fucking just come up behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll shoot him.
I like that, man. I like that. Jeff, is there anything you want to kind of put out on the table before we start wrapping this up? That our listeners, including maybe the listeners, to be like, hey, I was on a hunting podcast, check them out, like that you want to just disclose on the show?
I mean, I'm just so glad that you guys asked me to come on. Like, I think what you guys are doing is fucking great. I hope everybody who's just tuning in maybe to hear me is going to listen to your podcast now, because it's super entertaining. Like you said, you guys are all over the place, which is great. You aren't just the run-of-the-mill hunting podcast like, so what'd you hunt today, Phil? I don't know, maybe a deer, like, nah, it ain't fucking that. You guys have fun with it, and it's awesome. And I hope that, we both continue to podcast forever, because it's a lot of fun.
Amen, brother. Amen to that. I like that. Ghost Hunter, hit it. All right.
Could you imagine the shit that's going through his head
I
right
know,
now?
Jeff's like, what the fuck is this shit?
I love it.
So what this segment is what rattles your antlers. Sort of like Peter Griffin, what grinds your gears, what rattles your antlers in life in general, man.
Oh, man, what rattles my antlers? God, so much. There's so many things in life that just You know what fucking rattles my antlers is fucking when you walk into any place, like a supermarket or like a retail store or whatever, and somebody, and I know they're just doing their job, you know, they come up to you and they're like, "Can I help you with anything?" And you, being the person you are polite or not, and say, you know, like, "No, I don't need any help," or like, "No, thank you," or "No, thank you very much," or whatever, and you try to go about your day and they fucking accost you again, it's like, I want to set you on fire. Like, I tried to be fucking nice, and like when those types of people double down, it's like, I already told you to fucking go away. Like, and I feel like there's times that I should go into stores and just be like, when people try to come up to me, just be like, "No, go the fuck away. Go the fuck
off
away from me." That fucking rattles
Get the
my
fuck
antlers.
away from me.
Fucking hate it.
Oh, man, I love that. That's
Remind me to never ask Jeff if he needs help.
No, ask me once. That's fine. Because sometimes I do. You know, like, honest to God, I've been in like a Home Depot or whatever looking for a fucking, I don't know, whatever, you know, and somebody will come up to me and be like, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "Thank you. Yes, I'm looking for this motherfucking thing." So sure. But
do you work in retail?
And even then, sometimes those employees are like, "Are you special needs? Because you're not helping me right now." It's like
true.
I'm gonna get shit for this, but like a Walmart employee, it's like, for some reason, I'm in the sporting goods department, and I ask an employee that's like, and Kills It podcast with Garrett Benner. He brought this very same notion up. There'll be 6 employees hovering around the sporting goods department, and none of them can fucking help you. And you have to wait there for like 20 minutes to get that one specialty. It's like, what the fuck do you know that's more special than these 6 other employees?
No,
now?
actually, I work in the painting section, but I can get someone to help you.
So why are you here?
It's like, fuck.
Why?
Oh, man, I love it. I love it, man. Jeff, I mean, really quick, we're going to do Round of Positivity, but I want you to close us out with the Round of Positivity and let us know exactly where we can find you again, because this has been an awesome, awesome episode. Much needed, kind of back away a bit from just always talking about killing shit and hunting. Like, this is coffee that people need in their life. So, Round of Positivity, Trev.
Oh, it's me, as always. Thank you. I appreciate it. I will take the mic. Anyways, Round of Positivity. Once again, I just want to say thank you, Jeff, for taking the time to spend a little bit of time with us this evening. And also thank you to Death Wish Coffee for all that you do for this podcast. But A Round of Positivity is exactly what D-Rock said, just a step back and to enjoy talking to somebody on a podcast that's not hunting and something a little bit different and somebody that's fucking badass.
Awesome. Ghost Hunter, what do you have?
My Round of Positivity has to go, honestly, to you, Jeff, because not just with your support and your coffee and everything you do for us, but the way you take pride in what you sell and what you stand by, and like how you sold coffee. You weren't even wanting to get paid for it. You just loved it. The passion, the desire, you give me positivity to just keep grinding and just keep doing what I'm passionate about. So thank you.
Awesome. My Round of Positivity is just this right now, getting Death Wish Coffee on the show. And not just that, fueled by Deathcast with the incredible Jeff. Jeff, you're a badass. I was one of those dudes. I was a jock growing up, but also a nerd. So I always stuck up for all of us because I'm a nerd. And that's the best positive thing that I could say is we always knew what was best for the rest of the jocks. You know what I mean? And that's why we're here. So Jeff, what do you got? Round of positivity.
All right. My round of positivity is that something that we talked about very early on in this show is that the power of intention and putting stuff out in the world, it is the best thing. It's the best thing. If you're passionate about something, go do that thing. Go be a part of that thing. And you guys embody that more than anyone. You know, I think everybody who is a fan of East Coast Bowhunting Podcast is amazing, and I think everybody else should be a fan of you guys, and that's because of the passion you put into it. And again, you know, you put that passion out into the world, and it just makes the world a better place, but it also makes everything else better because you're passionate about everything. And one final time, because you asked for it, if you guys are looking for more of my stupid garbage, you can find me at Fueled by Deathcast, wherever social media is, and also deathwishcoffee.com.
Awesome, man. What better way to close it on that step? Stay stepping.
And stay slaying.
Try to let a few doors walk, but if that freezer runs low, I gotta stock it. These scrub bucks got no mask, darn sure no drop times, but this chili has deer burger in it tonight.
Dude, where did this podcast go? Straight to hell. Yeah, speaking of hell, check out East Coast Bowhunting Podcast.
We keep it real on East Coast. First of all, I'm addicted to the show.
I like that. That's cool.
Heart, you live it, you breathe it. It's a whole different world.
Just East Coast has a little bit more of an edge and a grind.
It's a fantastic thing.
You guys are fucking awesome.
Well, number one is you guys like beer. I want to feel like I'm hanging with the boys.
You're the guys that showed up.
But I actually saw Jesus.
The point where it is now where it's insane.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Just want to get the realest people possible in the industry. And you're just going to piss people off. You're not doing it right.
Nothing forced. All fucking natural.